Ago. Thanks for joining us here in Rebel Radio. Peter Tsolis, TLGZOID, killer new label. You set up 1 year ago today. You set up, I think I messaged you like 5 in the morning. I don't remember. I go, hey, I said something about Billy Morrison maybe calling in. You set it up. He called in. Dude, he was the highlight of the day. He was awesome. He talks for a long time. He talked about a lot of cool stuff. And at that time was a new song called Crack Cocaine by him and Ozzy. And that song just took off. It had a life of its own, right?
You know, Scott, first of all, I want to thank you for having me on. And, yeah, I've been a longtime supporter of Rebel Radio because, you know what, you are one true lover of music. Beyond the fact that you're in a band and the Suffering's been doing stuff and you've been in other bands, all that. But to do what you've been doing for the sheer love of music and exposing music to people in Chicago, I got to give you my sincerest applause, dude. It's awesome, man. 31 years, it's incredible.
That's crazy for anything, right? I mean, just even for a band being together for 31 years.
It's almost impossible to do anything anymore. You know, nobody has attention spans, and the fact that you've been doing it for 31 years and exposing local bands and national bands to people that would have never heard before, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, but going back to Billy Morrison, it was about a year ago you texted me. I never sleep, so you said, is it possible we could get Billy on? And for those people that don't know, Billy Morrison has been around for a long time. He's
Ozzy's best friend.
One of the guitar players in Billy Idol's band.
Yep.
Best friends with Ozzy Osbourne. And we at TLGZOID were fortunate enough to sign Billy, release his album called The Morrison Project, and then his deluxe album. But, you know, when we signed him, he goes, hey, I got a couple songs, you know, you got to hear these songs. So we started listening, and one of them had to be a song with Ozzy Osbourne, Crack Cocaine, which went to #1 on Media Base and #2 on Billboard.
That's awesome.
Radio, which is amazing, right? It's we're a startup indie label. But,
startup label going to #1.
Singing on the song, you know, makes it a little easier.
That's awesome. You're a startup label, TLG, and you're Zoid. You guys joined forces together. You get distributed by Virgin, right?
Yeah, we get distributed by Virgin. We actually, Zoid Entertainment's been around, you know this, Scott. It's been
Yes.
around for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Managing Aftermath, we managed Soil at one point.
Yep.
Stripping the Pistol, all that
Yep.
stuff in Chicago. And then when Aftermath decided to come back in 2019 and release a record called There Is Something Wrong, their second record after 25 years, I partnered with Denny Sanders, who's the TLG and the TLGZOID part, for distribution and some stuff. And at that time, we released the Aftermath record, and we just became really cool with each other. And we said, you know what, man, we want to create a label, because Denny is the label group and does a bunch of different genres. We want to create a label that when people hear the name of the label, they know it's hard rock and metal, right?
Cool.
And really in metal, you know. So we're like, let's do this, man. Let's see if we could create the right label where people instantly know what genre it is. You know, kind of like, you know, back in the day, Sub Pop was, you know, you knew what it was.
Yes.
Or even on the rap stuff. So we kept on talking about it. By 2024, we were really serious about it, and we were fortunate enough to get Billy Morrison's record, who, you know, not only is Ozzy on it, man, Steve Vai's on that record.
Yeah,
you know,
man.
one of the greatest guitar players of all time. The fact that I was responsible for, in this part, putting on a record with Steve Vai, who's an idol of mine.
Super cool guy, too.
Is incredible. And then you got Corey Taylor, and then you got Linda Perry, and you have all these amazing musicians on our
Wide variety.
It's just great, dude. It was a great experience, but we were fortunate, man, in that sense.
So now Billy Morrison's got a follow-up now? This song was written years ago?
Billy's in the studio now recording. He's, I think, 8 songs in. He's going to have some more special guests. He's going to do 6 songs that are him on vocals and 6 songs that are not him. You know, he's got some special friends on the record. Some are pretty cool, just like he did on the first record. The first record had 6 songs for the Morrison Project. It had 6 songs where he sang and 6 songs where he didn't sing. We're going to copy that formula. So he's finishing that up now. He is right now, as we sit here, somewhere in Europe.
Yep.
You know, with the tour of Billy Idol. And that's the reason he wasn't on the Ozzy.
That had to kill him, right? He wanted to be there, I'm sure.
It killed him.
He wanted to be last Saturday. He wanted to be there. But he's on tour, or he's on tour already. A lot of these tours, as you know, they get booked 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months in advance. So sometimes you book something and I said, oh man, Ozzy show just came up. You can't cancel, you know. He had to play the show.
And you know what? It was Billy Idol playing these big places in Europe.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
You know, this big tour that he's been scheduling for years. So yeah, they couldn't do it because I think Billy Idol wanted to be part of that as well. But you know, you're not going to cancel your own show.
Yeah.
In front of 20,000 people to go play, despite the fact that, you know, this was one of the greatest metal events of all time.
Oh yeah, and you're only playing. If they did play, you'll play only 3 or 4 songs too. That's another thing too. So, but
it was like what a great weekend. And, you know,
man,
we actually released a song, and I think you're going to play this later.
Yes.
Gods of Rock and Roll. You're going to play the Strip that just came out literally last week, which is Ozzy with just the orchestra and an amazing guitar solo by Steve Stevens on acoustic guitar this time. Some people may have heard the other version of Gods of Rock and Roll. They had drums and bass and the electric guitar and another solo, but it's incredible. Hey, man, drummers don't get credit sometimes. I don't
No, they don't. They never do.
Right? The drummer in Cinderella, Fred Corey, actually wrote the orchestra piece.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. Awesome. And this song's only like it got released 8 days ago. Is that right? Or no?
Yeah, this version that got released 8 days ago. The other version with the bigger production, which wasn't stripped, which has the video that's got millions of views out there. That version was released earlier this year. That made the top 10 on Billboard and on MediaBase. So Billy Morrison had a great year with Ozzy, with Crack Cocaine going number 1 and number 2, and this one going number 7 on both of those formats. Those charts is incredible, dude. But that version has a bigger arrangement. This is stripped, and the reason it's stripped, man, is because when we were in the studio, Eric and I at the label, we were in the studio in L.A. when Ozzy shot the video with Steve Stevens and all that, and, man, Ozzy came to life that day. He said, you know what would be really cool, man? You know what would be really cool, man, if you stripped the actual guitars and the bass and the drums and just left the strings. And, when Ozzy says something,
you can listen.
Said, okay, let's do it.
That's actually a pretty good idea, right? To have 2 different versions like that. That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And you know what? He was right. The man was 100% right. When you hear this version, it's like you've never heard Ozzy like this before, because you could really hear Ozzy, and he's powered by this orchestra. It's a 57-piece orchestra, recorded in Budapest, Hungary. So it was a great experience. Making the video and being in the room with Ozzy while the video was being shot was surreal, dude. I've never, it's just a really weird experience. I met a lot of interesting people and a lot of big people in the music industry, but sitting there watching Ozzy do a video is something I'll never forget.
Cool. Now, let's go back some years. You got Soil signed. Which deal was we got the Soil? Was it the first deal or second deal?
Yeah, I managed Soil and got their deal with J Records, their big deal. The one we created a bidding war on. It was the Johnny Cake demo.
Yes.
You wanted.
Halo. Yep. I remember. Yeah, we played Halo. We played Soil at Rebel Radio. They came to the studio, gave us the sample CD. We played it, and they didn't play a show yet. They weren't signed yet. Nothing. That was pretty cool. And then all of a sudden,
cool.
They created a huge buzz from those songs. So that was a great job there. And then a station called The Jar, WJAR in Orlando, right, started playing Halo like crazy.
It was an interesting story. Pat Lynch at WJAR was best friends with a guy, Rob Stevenson, who signed Shinedown. Rob used to be the program director at that station before Pat Lynch, and Rob really wanted to sign the band. We created a big bidding war. There was like 6 major labels that wanted Soil. Jeff Blue from Warner Brothers would sign Linkin Park, and everybody pretty much. We were fortunate enough to create this bidding war, and Atlantic Records and Rob Stevenson at Atlantic Records wanted the band, and the bigwigs at Atlantic weren't into metal at all, or hard rock or any of that stuff, or new metal, whatever you want to call it. And he goes, hey, what if I get some radio exposure down in Orlando and create a bigger buzz in my label? Maybe that can help. He did, and it helped create even a bigger buzz. But at the end of the day, he never signed the band because his bosses didn't want to sign a metal band. And we were fortunate that James Diener, at the time at J Records, who had also signed Maroon 5 at that time, loved the band, gave him the biggest recording contract out of any band in the history of Chicago.
Wow.
It was a pretty big deal. No labels cut those deals anymore. That money's just not there at this point. Unfortunately, that record came out on September 11th, 2001.
I remember that.
We all know what happened after that.
Yeah.
Right? The whole world changed.
And Slayer put out God Hates Us All that same day, too.
Yeah, that's true. The only difference is that God Hates Us All, right, was Slayer, man. They're known, they're established.
Yeah.
Instead of a band that to the world has never been around before, this huge buzz. Halo was doing really great at radio, and it was going to take off. It was going to be an amazing event, and then all of a sudden, this disaster happens. And you know what really was bad about that? That night, Shriven the Pistol was opening, and Shriven the Pistol had like 10 labels come to see him that night. They were going to come. That band was getting a huge buzz, and then all of a sudden that show gets canceled and the showcases ended at that point.
Yeah. Where was Shriven the Pistol playing? Was it Thurston's?
No, they were opening for Soil at Metro. It was
Metro.
A record release party on that day. And
that's crazy.
That morning, I get a call from my cousin. He goes, "Hey, man, get up," because I was getting ready for the night's event.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Get up, go turn on your TV." I'm like, "Why is this guy calling me to tell me to go turn on my TV? He knows I got a gig coming up this night." And I went down and I see the World Trade Center coming down, and I'm like, oh my God, what the hell's going on?
Crazy.
And obviously, everything got canceled for the next couple months. And
Yeah.
the Stripping the Pistol showcase, which they were opening for Soil, went away. And it was going to be an amazing event, for that show to kick off the record. And then, I guess.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? How things, even 2020 had a bunch of cool stuff come in 2020. Rebel Radio, The Suffering. We were playing with Propane, a whole bunch of our shows. Everything got canceled because of 2020.
Yeah, all because of COVID, right?
Yeah.
Crazy
How timing's everything,
you
right?
can't control stuff, right?
No, timing's everything, right?
No, absolutely. You're 100% right. Yeah, so timing was right for TLGZOID to come along now and become a label, a bigger label, and
Yeah.
hopefully one day become a really big label. We have a roster of some cool bands. We're looking for more, obviously. We put out the Smile and Soul EP this year. Everybody probably remembers Smile and Soul.
I do. Yep.
Bottom of the Bottle and their big success when they were on the majors. But we put out a great 7-song EP of theirs, man. Some great songs. Sean's writing some amazing music, especially for that style. And we have a brand new band called From the Current. They're a country metal band, if you want to believe it, but it's the Nino, he left and joined From the Current. They're writing some really cool stuff. We're reissuing, remastering, and remixing the Stripping the Pistol stuff because I just think those songs are amazing, timeless, and they should be heard. Aftermath is in the studio right now recording their 4th album, their follow-up to No Time to Waste from 2023. Sounds nothing like Aftermath has ever sounded like before. But Aftermath never sounds the same from album to album.
They always change. That's cool. Now, Charlie, your brother, is calling in later today.
Yeah, Charlie's calling in later today.
That's cool.
He's probably waking up right when he's calling.
That's the first on Rebel Radio. 2 brothers calling in for an interview the same day. So you guys are making history here at Rebel Radio.
There you go. Yeah, so that record's getting done, and then we got the Billy Morrison record coming up and a couple other surprises. We just put out a song by a band called Fight From Within.
Yes, I got them, yep.
They're like a metalcore, pretty heavy stuff, man. They're
cool.
getting buzz. Their shows are getting
where are they from?
Wilder.
Where's that band from?
They're from Jersey.
Jersey, okay.
On the East Coast.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy shit.
Awesome.
I'm swearing again. I can't.
No problem.
I apologize.
We're all good.
And that's pretty cool. And then you know what? We also just dropped a song by a band called Disciples of Verity. And
that band's awesome. We love that band here at Rebel Radio. We just interviewed
the 2 Corys, right?
Yeah, we interviewed both Corys like a week apart. So 1 week was Corey Pierce, and next interview was Corey Glover. So
Corey Glover.
Yeah, the new stuff's awesome too. We played 2 new songs.
Yeah, aren't they great?
Yeah, like I think like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was
2-3 weeks ago. That was awesome. I can't wait to hear the rest of the album.
Oh, it's a great record.
And I love the first album. The first album's awesome too.
Oh yeah, no, it's great because George from the Current is also Disciples of Verity, and that's the connection.
I didn't know that.
To be heard, man. That's a great record. He's got one of the most amazing heavy voices for that kind of stuff. I mean, Corey's got a great voice. And
awesome.
The whole band's just great.
Peter, thank you so much for calling in. I got 29 more interviews. Thank you for supporting Rebel Radio all these years. And I want you to be the DJ to announce this next song on your label, TLGZOID. How does someone listening right now go to your label and buy? And I always encourage people, buy a digital download, buy a CD, buy a vinyl, support the label, support the bands, and keep the music going, right? So how do they find your bands to purchase on
we're fortunate that we have Virgin Distribution
That's huge.
Everywhere. Now, this Gods of Rock and Roll special that you're going to hear in a minute here, there were only 500 pressed with gold, 180-gram vinyl, exclusive to independent mom-and-pop record stores. We didn't go through Amazon. We could have. Everybody wanted this record, but we said we want to support local stores.
That's cool.
Because you know what? They're the backbone of this industry, right? They're people that work at record stores that really know music. We want to support them. We actually gave a thousand copies of Phenomenon of Billy Morrison Cypress Hill vinyl 12-inch only to independent record stores as a giveaway.
I like that.
We're out there supporting these local stores. You can find it in your stores. You can find any of our releases on all the digital platforms, whether it's Spotify or Apple Music or whatever you use, wherever your platform is. The physical releases are going to be available everywhere except this one limited edition Ozzy and Billy Morrison track. The Billy Morrison record's available on Amazon and everywhere else. You can always go to TLGZOID.com to see what's coming up. We have a YouTube channel as well. But you know what? Anywhere you find music, you'll be able to find them.
Awesome.
So we're going to keep promoting it. Hopefully the label will be releasing even more amazing records in the years to come that you'll be talking about and playing. And
awesome. Yeah, we're going to play them all. Thank you so much for calling in, Peter. You're the DJ in Rebel Radio. I want you to introduce this next song like you're a DJ in Rebel. Take it away.
Can I act like I'm Scott Davidson?
No. you gotta be Peter. You gotta be Peter Tsolis.
This is Peter. You're listening to Rebel Radio, the 31-year anniversary of this amazing metal station, broadcasting over the Chicagoland area. And I'm going to introduce a song by the guy that started, was one of the founding fathers of heavy metal, who just retired this past weekend, Ozzy Osbourne, whose song, Gods of Rock and Roll, along with Billy Morrison, is on TLGZOID, a label out of Chicago. You can't beat that now, can you?
No, it's perfect. Awesome.
Let's hear the song.
There it is. Thanks a lot, Peter. We'll see you soon, buddy.
Thank you. Hey, congratulations, brother.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, we're still live on Facebook. See you later, Peter. Thanks for calling in. Here is the song, Gods of Rock and Roll, stripped down orchestral version right here. And to hear this song, switch over to rebelradio.com right now. Gene Ambo is number 3 up next on Rebel Radio.